Eric, say you're good to go. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. We will call to order this regular meeting of the Lawrence County Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, July 9, 2024. We appreciate everybody being here today. We would ask if you have any type of a cell phone or communication device, if you'd be kind enough to put it on silent or vibrate. We thank you for that. We always start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'd ask you to remain standing for a moment of silence. Mr. Vanasco, would you please pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We'll have a moment of silence. Thank you, everybody. Vanessa, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Sarnado?
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Here.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here. We have a quorum. We always set aside time during our meeting for public comment, both in just a few moments as well as prior to adjournment of the meeting. We welcome your comments. We ask they be related to county government matters. And you're welcome to speak both times or one of the two times, or if you're just here to listen, that's just as well, just as fine. Ask if you could try to keep your time to about 5 minutes or so. We appreciate that as well. We also set aside time for any of our row officers that wish to attend and make reports, but today none of our row officers are here. So that takes us to public comment. So let me open it up, see if anybody has a comment or a question they'd like to raise at this time. Hearing none, we'll repeat this before we adjourn. Under fiscal and contractual, today we do have a repository bid that has come in. Vanessa, what number would this resolution be?
167.
167, thank you for that. This particular parcel is in Pulaski Township. The bid has been made by Terry McCoy, parcel number 290800701 on the New Bedford Youngstown Road. The bid of $501 has been accepted by the Pulaski Township supervisors as well as the Wilmington area school district. So now it comes before us. Once again, the bid is $501 for a parcel in Pulaski Township. Would one of my colleagues wish to make a motion?
I move to accept.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a second?
Second.
Dan, thank you. Gentlemen, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sarnado?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we have our warrant register from the Controller's Office, and it is dated July 3 of 2024. Gentlemen, I'll give you some time to look it over, and whenever you're ready to make a motion to accept this document, I can certainly take that from you.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Dan.
I'll second.
Chris, thank you. Gentlemen, any questions or concerns about the warrant register? Hearing none, take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sarnado?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. By the way, these documents that we're referring to are available if anybody wants to see them. And as we always try to do, Debbie, I'll give you the whole packet when we're done today, certainly. The minutes of the July 2nd. Oh, sure. Do you need me to recess for a second?
No,
We can go ahead.
Review of them.
Okay, thank you. The minutes of the July 2nd meeting are in our packet, gentlemen. If you'd like to take some time to look them over, and then whenever you're ready, we could take a motion to approve the minutes. I move we accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions or concerns about the minutes? If not, we'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Let's make one minor adjustment here. The resolution that we just approved dealing with the repository property, that should be resolution 169, not 167. So we'll make that part of the record. Thank you, Vanessa and Joe, for catching that. And the minutes have been approved. That takes us down to written communications. We have one document that has come in since we met last week. This is from LSSE, Civil Engineers and Surveyors. And this involves Taylor Township's sewage treatment plant upgrade. It is notifying us that Taylor Township is in the design phase for the rehabilitation of their sewage treatment plant. The work under this project generally includes conversion of existing aeration basins to sequencing batch reactor wastewater treatment process, modifications and improvement to existing headworks, conversion of settling tanks to equalization and effluent pumping, construction of an above-ground digester sludge holding tank, installation of a UV disinfection system, control building renovations, and site improvements. Having read all that, it tells you why I never became an engineer. Taylor Township will be applying to Penvest for funding for this project, and that's the purpose of the notification of this letter to us. And if I recall correctly, we allocated ARPA money to this project. I believe, was it 250,000?
Yes.
So we're glad to help the township, and we hope that they are successful with this effort. Gentlemen, any concerns or discussion about this letter? Chris, anything? Okay. Dan, any comments?
No.
Okay. Thank you. May I have a motion to accept this letter, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Thank you both, gentlemen. If there are no other comments, we can take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next are commissioner reports and comments. Commissioner Sanada, you get to go first today.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Actually, we had a very busy week last week as we approached the 4th of July. I actually had an opportunity to visit a couple municipalities and just a shout out to New Wilmington Band's home turf out there. They had another very successful 3rd of July fireworks with the band playing out there. It started off with some rain, even though it wasn't in the forecast, but when I got out there, it had stopped and a huge crowd turned out for that. It was nice to see that. I've gone in the past, and that's a great tradition for New Wilmington Borough. And I think to see the people come out, and the weather finally did cooperate. It was a little shaky, but they did come, and the music was outstanding as usual. Fireworks. And I had the opportunity on 4th of July to go out to Pearson Park. That's been my tradition probably for about 20 plus years. Walk around and listen to the famous Red Coat Band, which my grandfather was a member for 50 years back in the day. So they have a long history in Lawrence County. They play every year at Pearson Park, and it was a beautiful day, and the band did another great job. So I think those are two of the community type events. Now that 4th of July is over, now we're going to be gearing up for the fireworks festival in downtown Newcastle. Tomorrow I will be actually going to be on KDK radio in the morning. I'm actually going to be talking about some of the tourism and activity going to be going on in Lawrence County. Fireworks festival, the great car shows coming up, those type of activities in Lawrence County. Rich Fitzgerald from the Southwest Commission invited me to do this, and I think it's going to be we want to promote Lawrence County. It's going to be a lot of activity, and look forward to that. Tomorrow morning, then I have to go to the Tourist Promotion Agency, which I'm on the board for. So it all correlates together. See what some other good things that are happening. I know they're very active and very busy. I talked to Janet yesterday. So those are some of the activities I did and what's coming up for this week. So it's been so far, I think, a good summer. We just want to keep the people coming and with the river walk downtown and let's hope the weather cooperates a little bit because you want them out on the river walk. We want to continue to see people coming downtown Newcastle for those activities and we want to see it to grow. So that's really all I have, Jared.
Thank you so much, Chris. Commissioner Kennedy.
Not much, just thank you, Chris, for all the running around you do for Dan and I. I've been kind of grounded, but I'm starting to get better and better and out there more and more. But we thank him for all the running around he does, going to see the people and get things done. Last weekend, we really, after 4th of July, there really wasn't much to do all weekend. We didn't have any activities, but if there was, Chris would have went and did it. And we thank him. It just makes me get better every day, and this is number 8 day of me feeling pretty darn good, and I'm happy. So we're back at it. Next week we'll probably be here every day driving crazy. So we'll get things done. Thanks, guys. That's all I really know.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it very much. We've already started a very busy morning and we've got a busy afternoon, so we'll try not to overdo it, but we'll get through it. The only thing I'll note is that I serve on the county's Conservation District Board of Directors. We meet monthly. These meetings are open to the public, by the way. And for the last number of years, we've been meeting at Grill on the Hill out in Neshannock Township. And it's my understanding that they've closed their business. Very nice establishment. If you ever ate there, the food was always good and the service was very pleasant. So last week we met at Sony's, and then starting next month, we'll be meeting at Chuck Tanner's restaurant, also in Neshannock Township. Conservation Board meets the first Wednesday of every month at noon. And again, they are open to the public. State law stipulates that a county commissioner serve on each county's conservation district board. It's in large part very oriented towards the agricultural community. And I got to tell you, every month that I go to those meetings, I learn something new every month about the farming industry or things that are going on throughout the county as it relates to conservation. So it's a great board to be on. And I guess when I retire, one of you can get to take my place on that board. It's very, very informative. That's all I have this morning. We'll move on to new business, and let's see, this would be number 170, I think. And this first resolution involves the assessor's office. Our chief assessor, J.R. Hardister, is with us, and J.R., it's a pleasure to have you here. We hope you're well. Hope your summer's off to a nice start.
Thank you, and Dan, it's nice to see you back and looking good.
What do you have for us today, J.R.?
So in front of you is a addendum to an agreement with Vision Government Solutions. Just to give a little bit of a background, because Chris and Dan were not here when we signed the contract back in I believe it was 2022. We signed a contract with Vision Government Solutions to give a new software to the assessment office. Part of that software conversion required them to give us access to a website. And this addendum is to just change some terms into that to our county website for assessment purposes. And you may know the assessment office is the primary office, the heart of the property information, property taxes. And in order for us to be able to provide services to our residents in the county, we needed to do this addendum. So right now, some of those services are property owners are allowed to look at their property records free of charge. So on their tax bill, it gives them a username and a password. They can log in and they can see their information. And we encourage them to look at that information to make sure that they are paying taxes on what they truly do own on their property. A lot of property owners don't understand that when things get taken off their records, they knock down a building. Sometimes we don't get notified. So this is one way for them to verify all that data, and they can do that free of charge. Another thing is we work very closely with our treasurer's office so that property owners have the ability to pay their taxes online. And then we also work closely with the Tax Claim Bureau to allow property owners also to pay their delinquent taxes online. With the previous agreement, some of those services would have gone to the wayside because we changed software vendors and the previous vendor, it was not compatible. So now that they've come together, our former vendor, EST, is now part of the Vision Government Solution. So EST had a software called Courthouse Online. So if you go to courthouseonline.com, you now have the ability to pay your taxes, everything that I just mentioned, review your property record card free of charge, pay your current and delinquent taxes. So Vision had to go ahead and create a tunnel to make these two, our new website and Courthouse Online, merge, but that was not in our contract. So we are asking an addendum to the contract at no cost to the county. We just want to make sure it's in black and white, that these services will still be available to the residents of the county. So that's all we wanted to do, is just make sure it's in black and white so it doesn't come back on either the county or the
Well, thank you for that background and that explanation. It's very helpful. It does lead me to ask a question, though. When you comment about the ability to pay taxes online, is that specifically county real estate taxes only, or would that also include municipal and school district property taxes?
The current taxes are only accessible for county taxes.
County real estate taxes.
It would be up to each individual tax collector to offer the ability to pay the municipal and or school taxes through them online. There is capabilities. I don't believe any of our tax collectors offer that at this time.
Okay.
But the one we offer is just county.
Okay, thank you.
Wilmington Township does.
Wilmington Town? Okay, good.
They have one more.
Oh, that's good to know.
But delinquent taxes would be any of the taxes that are filed into our tax claim bureau. Even though not all are filed in anymore, there are some school districts and municipalities that use a third-party vendor.
Right.
Those would not be paid through this service. Only the ones that are filed into our tax claim bureau are paid online through this service.
Thank you for that. Credit to Mrs. Elder in Wilmington Township.
She had no choice.
I
I got with her, but we, when we put our website up, we made it so you could pay taxes on it.
Oh, that's good. Well, go ahead.
Just
Jay.
one other comment, I do want to at least make the public aware that the website, once we do go live here, probably I think in a week or so, the new website with the property information is going to be much more thorough. More information is going to be available than what our previous site had. So a lot of our commercial data was missing on the previous site. It's all going to be available now. So this site is going to be 1,000 times better than our previous website.
I also want to note, I appreciate you even included it in the resolution, that the addendum that we're looking at today, you did refer to our assistant county solicitor for her review. So I appreciate, number one, you're doing that, and number two, noting it in the proposed resolution.
On that note, even Solicitor Madore reviewed it as well. He was on vacation when I originally got the addendum, but since then he has reviewed it as well and gave it a blessing.
Thank you for noting that. Dan, do you have other questions or comments for JR? Thank you. Chris?
Yeah, JR, the site, how easy is it to check the property? You type the name of the owner, or you type the address? How does that work?
You can search by an owner's name, you can search by the site address, you can search by a control number which is located on the property tax bill. Those are the three ways that you have the ability to search.
So can anybody check anybody's property on that site?
Yes. Information in the assessment office is all public record. Now, through Courthouse Online, which is what we signed with EST back in 2012, they do charge the fee to access the data. We do not get any of that. That is all done through them. They pay all the hosting, they pay all the maintenance and everything to the website. So the county doesn't have to do that. They charge a small fee to use the site.
Wait, say this again. So if I go on my computer right now, and I want to look up, we'll say, we'll use Joe Manasco. I'll pick on our administrator. I want to look at his house. I could type his name in, and would he go there? would I have to pay to be able to look at his house?
To look at anyone else's, yes, you'd have to have a subscription with Courthouse Online. And they give a daily, 3-day, monthly, yearly subscription. It's unlimited. If you wanted to look at yours on your tax bill, there is a username. The username is your control number, your parcel ID. And then there is a password specific to every property on your tax bill. And then you can look at your house and any property that you own free of charge.
Okay, that's good. That's the question so the taxpayer can see theirs for free, but if they want to look at someone else's, they have to pay.
Correct.
Pretty straightforward.
Yes.
So on the bill that I have, my school tax, my county tax, it would have this on there. So if I want to look at it, I just put those numbers in it and I can get into it.
And you can look into it. And there's even a section under there that says, say you have a garage that you tore down, you can make a comment and it'll automatically email the assessment office. You don't even gotta call us. It'll automatically email us.
So if there is a change on someone's property, you don't have to call, you can just type it in and then you would adjust it.
And we would obviously review it.
Review it.
Yes, we take that into consideration and then contact the property, because it'd be kind of like an email. You'd email us and then we'd be able to contact you that way.
All right, thank you, Jared. Thank you, Chair.
On that
Yes, sir.
note though, just, it is free to come and view everyone's property. We have 2 public terminals at the courthouse that you don't gotta pay for, you can come and take a look at. The charge is a convenience of 24 hours, 7 days a week that your property can be, you can review anyone's property at any time. That's,
Say that one more time. So if you want to come up here, you can look at any property.
you can look at it. We have 2 public terminals outside of the assessment office where you can review any property record in the county. The website where you pay for it, one, it's being serviced by a third-party vendor, but it also gives 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year service.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Did that trigger any more questions from you, Dan?
Good.
Okay, thank you. Well, JR, again, I appreciate the thorough explanation you've given about this. And we've had our opportunity to pose some questions to you. So that being said, would one of my colleagues wish to make a motion to approve Resolution 170?
I move we approve Resolution 170.
Second. Thank you, gentlemen. Any further discussion? If not, we take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Vanessa. JR, thank you.
Thank you.
You have a great day. Rebecca Schaefer is with us from our planning office, and hope you're doing well today. We are, I think we're all doing okay, Rebecca, thank you. You have a proposal involving the facade program fund that was established by the Borough of Elwood City. And we've utilized DCED, Keystone Community Program dollars for this. From what you've given us, Venezi Sporting Goods at 512 Lawrence Avenue are making some upgrades or modifications to their windows in the amount of $3,500. But do you want to give us some more background on this, please?
Yeah, so, in order to qualify, you have to have a street-facing exterior on a business district in Elwood City. So, and there is a steering committee that reviews all applications before they get to us. And from what I've been looking at, looks like an 8-foot window. It's like the very entrance to their door, and then there's windows on each side. So they had difficulty. You're normally supposed to have 3 quotes that actually, you decide which one you want to go with. But due to the size of the windows, there was only one that actually could do the job. So that is, so the total cost is $7,000. So it's a match for match,
50-50.
50-50.
Is it safe to say, to your knowledge, that they got the one quote, but did they try to secure other quotes?
Yes,
To your
they did.
Okay, so they made a good
Yes.
faith effort to get
Yes, they
other.
did.
Thank
Yes. So, and that was the reason why there was only one submitted. they did attempt it.
Okay.
But yes, so that's what, any other?
It's your recommendation that we move forward with this? Okay. Mr. Sanada, do you have questions for Rebecca? No. All righty, thank you. Commissioner Kennedy?
No.
Okay. Well, Rebecca, thanks for bringing this to our attention, and I'll see if one of my colleagues would like to make a motion to approve Resolution 171.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you both, gentlemen, and if there are no other concerns or questions, Vanessa, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you.
You take care.
Happy day.
You too. Mike Grippo and I believe Lisa Haddad are here from both Children and Youth Services as well as our Juvenile Probation Office. We've got three. How many are you handling?
I'm doing it first.
Okay, we'll start with proposed resolution 172. And Mike, is this a renewal?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
renewal.
This is with Family Care for Children and Youth out of Milton, PA in Northumberland County. So if you could give us some of the background on this, we'd appreciate it.
All right, it's a foster care facility. We use them basically as a backup for critical situations. And you can see on the bottom there that we've only had 2 kids there from 23 to 24. We haven't used them in 22, 23, or we currently haven't used them now, okay? And what it's critical for us to have backup situations when we have a child that we need to place that we're calling around. So they're about a 4% increase is what they're looking for. There's a lot, their whole rate sheet, there's a lot of rates, but a lot of times we don't use everything. It depends on where the child's placed, but it comes out to about 4%. But yeah, that's it about that one.
Well, Mike, thank you, and I'll see if my fellow commissioners have any questions for you. We'll start with Mr. Kennedy. Okay, thank you. Mr. Sanada?
I'm good as well.
All righty, so you're recommending, Mike, that we approve this?
Yes.
Since this is kind of a standalone, more so for CYS, whereas the next two are more direct with JPO, how about if we take a vote on this one, if you're so willing? Would one of you wish to make a motion? Thanks, Chris.
Second.
Thanks, Dan. If there are no other comments, then could we have a roll call?
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Mike, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate it. Mike, are you able to stick around?
Yeah.
Because I anticipate later in the meeting, we're gonna be taking some further action.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll stick around.
okay, thank you so much.
Yep.
Lisa Haddad, good morning. How are you doing today?
How are you?
Doing great, thank you. Thanks for joining us. And as we noted, Lisa is with our Juvenile Probation Office. You've got 2 requests in resolution form. Number 173 would be a contract purchase of service agreement with Cray Youth and Family Services, which is based here in Newcastle. Can you fill us in, please?
Sure, this is also a renewal contract. Credit Youth and Family Services provides our community service liaison positions for us. I'm gonna back up to January. We had requested in our needs-based budget a program enhancement to our already existing community service liaisons, where we are adding a Saturday support component, which is a graduated response in essence for us to be able to use in our office, where we have juveniles that are non-compliant, that are not following the rules, be able to go to a Saturday support program where staff work with them individually. They're also able to do community service. They're in essence a sanctioned program, but 3 out of the 4 Saturdays during the month are sanction-based, but 1 is also a rewards. So for those kids that are doing well, 1 time a month, we're able to send them to the Saturday support program where they get incentives, they get to be able to go to an outing, something that's a positive affirmation of them doing well under supervision, doing what they're requested and what they're needed to do. So in January, we had gotten permission to do that program enhancement for a period of 6 months. So now that that is over, we actually are merging those back together again. So it looks like you'll have a much greater percentage increase in the price of what it had costed last year. But if you put both of those together, that's in essence what the difference is, because we had gotten approval for that program enhancement. So I just wanted to explain that that's why it looks like there's a lot bigger increase, but it's really just merging those, both approved under a needs-based budget for this period of time. So yes, that we are able to continue that service with them.
Thank you, Lisa, appreciate that. I don't want to put Mr. Kemmerer on the spot, but Dawn Kemmerer is with us from Cray Youth and Family Services. Dawn, anything over and above what Lisa just presented to us?
No, I think it's great because really, sometimes juvenile probation's hands are somewhat tied in terms of what they can do. And so when you have kids that are basically saying, I'm not going to go to school, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, then to say, okay, well, guess what? Next Saturday, you're assigned and you're going to do community service and some homework or whatever it might be for 4 hours or 8 hours, really 8 hours a day. So it really gives them an enhancement, gives them some kind of and then also for those that are doing very well with them, that as Lisa pointed out, is that 3 of the 4 are sanctioned negative, but the 4th one is an incentive. So therefore, those kids can be taken by our staff to movies, to variety of positive kinds of activities because of how well they're doing. So I think it is a nice, they approached us about it. It wasn't something that we had in our purview, but whenever we've been doing the community service program for many, many years, it fit nicely. And so we agreed to do that. We did it 6 months kind of as we see how that would go. And I think it's a great enhancement.
Thank you for that. That's helpful, and didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I appreciate your helping us with that. Commissioner Sanada, any questions?
So you're saying this is.
It is not a new program. It was an enhancement to our existing community service. We had approval in our needs-based budget to start that as of January. So we did an additional contract to cover January through June. So now that we're kind of merging those back, because it's really under the same umbrella. Starting July 1st through June of next year, it's just all lumped under like one umbrella, one contract.
So that's why it was increased 17%.
Correct. But that, like I said, it's not a total 17% on top of what it once was. It's, like I said, merging those two, the numbers kind of don't really justify exactly how that kind of came about, but because we had separate funding that was approved for the community service liaison, we had separate funding that was approved for when we added the enhancement program starting January. We're just putting those numbers together. So it looks, on paper, it looks as though there's a 17% increase, but that's not quite how it kind of plays out, if you will.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sorry. Thanks, Chris. Dan, any questions?
No, you explained it very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, Lisa has another proposal. Would you like to hear that? Then we can maybe take a vote on both of them. Is that all right? Thank you. Proposed resolution 174, contract with the Summit School. Their headquarters, it appears, is in Allegheny County in Pittsburgh. But Lisa, can you give us some background on this, please?
Sure, this is also another renewal for us. It's an in-home service program that provides liaisons in the schools for our youth. So we have 2 employees from Summit Academy that work directly with all of our youth pretty much that are under supervision with us as a liaison in the school. They're kind of our eyes and ears of what's going on there, helping the kids out if there's any transitions or any issues school related in essence, getting the kids on track and making sure that there's no lapses in getting kids signed up for education, if there's any problems in the schools, if we're recognizing any truancy type issues, if we're recognizing any academic issues that we can also help with. They're our eyes and ears in the school, and they help us out quite a bit, keeping tabs on the kids for us.
To your knowledge, since we've got, and I always say we have 9 school districts in the county, because I always include the Career and Technical Centers.
Yes,
Us old timers call it the VOTEC.
they represent every school district.
So there has been interaction with each school district at one point or another.
Yes.
Okay.
So it all depends on whether or not we have students enrolled in any of the school districts
Right.
at any given time, but We do have liaisons that are in touch with every single school district, including alternative education at Craig and VOTEC, for lack of a better term.
And
Right, our school programs as well, so that covers our alternative ed and our private academic school. If there are any of the JPO clients there, they come and check on them.
that's good to know as well. I appreciate you're both making note of that over and above the school districts that we've mentioned. So thank you both. Mr. Kennedy, do you have questions on this matter? Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sanada? Well, gentlemen, you've heard the presentation from Lisa, as well as some information that Mr. Kemmerer has shared. We have in front of us resolutions 173 and 174. Would you be willing to make a motion to approve both of them?
So be.
I'll second. Thank you both, gentlemen. Any other discussion? If not, we can take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Lisa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's always nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Take care. And Mike, I was remiss. These documents are so helpful, so thank you for including it.
You're welcome.
Scott Baldwin is with us, I believe, from Mental Health and Developmental Services. Scott's our director of that office. And Scott, hope your day's off to a good start.
Busy day, you got it.
All right, well, maybe we get one thing checked off your list here. This is resolution 175, and it looks as though we're making an adjustment relative to the organization that you have a contract with, Vocational and Psychological Services. But can you give us the
Sure.
details?
So I was actually here a little over a month ago doing an amendment already on this existing contract, but, you know, our funding at mental health, we operate under the Human Services Block Grant, which is very unique, where the state allows us flexibility to move dollars in and out of programs. Without that, you can't do that. So at the end of the fiscal year, as dollars have not been spent where we anticipated them, we are allowed to reallocate them. And we sort of focus on where is the greatest need this year. Let's sort of address it. And Vocational Psychological Services does a variety of services. Not only do they do developmental services, but they also do mental health for both kids and adults. And our specific program of respite has been growing, and it's sort of a new program. We started it a year ago, and we're just keeping it funded. I mean, the need is great. Basically what respite does is it allows caregivers a break. And, you know, for example, if they're caring for somebody and they need to go to a doctor's appointment, or they need to go get groceries, you know, this allows them to sort of have a day to do that. And that program has sort of been growing tremendously. So these dollars are going there. And it's a good time because now we're working on a new contract with them. And I'll be back again. So anyway, it's that time of year where we're shifting money around. But it's a good thing to have. I mean, we love the block grant. I know Joe had that set up for us, and it's been a tremendous thing for Lawrence County. So that's why we're here today. We're looking at adjusting the contract fiscal year 23-24 from $215,000, and we're going to raise that up to $265,000. And this is for respite to sort of expand on these services. So again, these are no cost to the Lawrence County taxpayer. These are all block grant dollars. And putting them into good use.
Well, Scott, thank you for the helpful information, and I'll see if Commissioner Sanada has any questions.
I think it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Commissioner Kennedy? All right. Gentlemen, would one of you care to make a motion to approve Resolution 175?
I move we approve resolution 175. Second.
Thank you both. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we can have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Vanessa. Scott, thank you so much. Small favor to ask of you, tomorrow sometime, or if you're in, could you give me a call? Will do. Okay, yeah, thanks so much. Earlier today, we met as the salary board, and the salary board consists of the 3 commissioners and the county controller. And one of the actions that we took was establishment of the base salary for the position of Human Resources Director here in Lawrence County Government. What prompted the need for this is that we have received notification from Mrs. Karen King, who has been our Human Resources Director since the early 2000s. I believe it was myself, Commissioner Craig, and Commissioner Fosnot who hired her. And she's going to retire. Her last day is this Friday. And a two-person office that handles a lot of paperwork for over 400 employees, as well as incoming employees, retiring employees, although I note that retiring employees not only work with the HR office, they work closely with the controller's office as well. But the role is a very critical one. And coincidentally, a few weeks ago, the deputy director, Cindy Scaramazza, also retired. Well, we were fortunate in that our current Lawrence County Court Administrator, Mike Acabone, was also giving consideration to retiring from the court administration position, which he has held for many, many years, at least 20, because he was court administrator when I came in 2004. Mike approached us and said, I might have an interest in serving as the HR director. And we took that into account, recognizing his many, many years of administrative duties as the court administrator. And a lot of what he does is really HR related. He had a lot of employees who would ultimately report to him. Lisa, would be, not to put you on the spot, but the folks in your office, juvenile probation, report to the court administrator and then ultimately to the president judge, obviously. We consulted with our county solicitor because normally when a department head position opens up, normally we go through a process of posting the position, advertising the position, interviewing both internal candidates as well as, in some instances, external candidates. This is a little more unique for a couple of reasons. Because of the two retirements of the two people in that two-person office, it really put some pressure on us to move as quickly as we could so that we could keep that door open for our employees. It is a role, the department head in that role, it's probably 99% of an internal role. A lot of our department heads do external work. They work with other agencies in the community. So some of their work is internal, some of their work is external. Most of this work is internal work. But we did check with our solicitor to find out, look, were we obligated by any language in the county code to go through a formal posting / advertising process / interview process? And he did his research and he said, no. He said, number one, it's an at-will position. It's a non-union management position. You are not legally required to go through any of those processes. Your obligation as a board of commissioners is to hire somebody. And that's what we're going to be doing this morning. We've discussed this with Mr. Acabone. From what I understand, and his current position as court administrator, he has reported to the president judge. I might also add that role as court administrator, technically he's not been a county employee. He works here, but his salary and benefits as court administrator are paid by the Commonwealth. But given all of that, it's my understanding that Mr. Acabone will be stepping down as court administrator at the end of the business day on Friday. correct me if I'm wrong. And then it's our hope that if we take the vote here in a few moments, that we would hire him and he would begin his work on the 15th of July. We had gone through a process of interviews for the deputy position. Those interviews, and it was either 8 or 10 interviews. You were involved in them. 9, okay. I was close. We interviewed 9 people for the deputy position. We've held off on filling that position out of respect for Mr. Ackerbone. What I expect will be happening is early next week, you'll meet with him, talk with him about who those applicants were, review the resumes with him. Because we generally, as a rule, the Board of Commissioners, while we take the role of hiring department heads very seriously, and it is our responsibility directly to do it, we do it at public meetings. But our department heads, we put faith and trust in them to hire the folks that work for them within their respective departments. So our expectation is, our hope is that after Mr. Ackerbone takes on this responsibility, that shortly thereafter, after consultation with you and possibly with us, that he'll be in a position to hire his deputy. That's some of the background I wanted to share with everyone. Let me stop right there, and I'll start with Mr. Kennedy to see if he has any comments.
The only comment I'll make is I think this Joe, our solicitor will be involved with you and Mike also.
Sure.
So I have, just to make that note that Jason Medor is involved in this whole thing, making sure we are everything right.
Appreciate your noting that. Dan, thank you. Commissioner Sanada.
I'll just echo what you said, Chairman. I think that, with our situation when we lost 2 employees in a very short span, I think we're fortunate that from within the building, that Michael Ackerbone was available and expressed an interest. And I think that will help us with this transition because, as you said, it's a very critical position because that involves over 400 employees here at the Government Center. And we have to keep that going smoothly. That involves payroll, that involves health, that involves everything. So I think Mr. Ackerbone's experience up here at the Government Center, as far as the court administrator, and I've known Mike for many years. He's a very professional individual, and I've never heard any bad word about the great job he's done for the courts. So I'm sure he's going to do a fine job for the county. So I'm comfortable with him in that position.
Thank you, Chris. Joe, would you care to add anything, if you wish?
No, just I've worked with Michael for several years now in various positions that I've been in throughout the courthouse. Top-notch individual, and I think he will have great insight into his new position, and looking forward to growing that relationship that we have with the HR office. It's vital to the commissioners, and that office probably works as close with the commissioners as any office that we have.
Thank you, Joe. And I'd be remiss, we want to recognize Mrs. King for her many years of dedicated service to the county, as well as Mrs. Scaramazza, who also served as we noted, as the deputy HR director. Both of them have worked very hard. We're very dedicated employees. We appreciate their years of service and their professionalism. Our hope is that this transition will be a seamless one, and so we say farewell to 2 good people, both Karen and Cindy, and we give a warm welcome to Michael. He's basically just going to come down a couple flights of steps and have a new office to work out of. So we look forward to that. Before I take a motion, once again, anything else that you'd like, Dan?
The only thing I would say is, a lot of this happened when I wasn't here, but Michael reached out to me when I was at home on the phone. Him and I talked for quite a long time. And I come to the consensus too, that be in the direction we want to make that go and try to get rid of some paperwork that we do and make it a little bit easier. He's willing to do that, so I was happy to hear that, but I think he'll make I don't know him well, but I'm getting to, and I think it'll be a good transition with him going in there. Trying to help us move on to the 21st century in that department a little bit. So that's about it.
Thank you. Chris or Joe, anything else?
Yeah, just one follow-up too. I want to commend, both Karen and Mrs. Scamazzo for their efforts. I know when I took office in January, I met with them both in December, and when Dan talks about paperwork, I think I sat down there for an hour having to fill everything out, getting everything in order. And they were both very helpful. They answered questions, but it takes time and it takes a lot of effort. And I think a lot of us don't realize that until I actually had to sit down and provide information and actually get more. But both of them did a fine job in my 7 months of being here. So I wish them both the very best in their retirement. I enjoyed working with both of them, and I'll enjoy working with Michael since I have known him for many years. I have great confidence in him.
Thank you. Joe, anything else?
Just reiterate, thank you to Karen King and Cindy and the job that they did. It ran smoothly for a long time.
Thank you. This is proposed resolution 176. It's very simple. It names Michael Acabone as the county's human resources director effective July 15 of 2024. May I have a motion?
I move that we accept Michael Acabone as the Human Relations Director.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you both, gentlemen. If there are no other comments, we can have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. The next two resolutions, and I'm going to just briefly introduce the two of them and then turn it over, if you don't mind, to my colleague, Commissioner Kennedy, because these involve matters that the county's Economic Development Corporation / Forward Lawrence are working on. And Mr. Kennedy is our representative to that board, and he's been very active in the 6 months he's been here, 6.5 months or so, and very active on this board. These two resolutions, 177 and 178, deal with the state's redevelopment assistance capital program grant project. And the first is an application that has been made for a $500,000 grant for the Stonecrest Business Park facility in New Beaver Borough, which is the old golf course down on State Route 18. The second document deals, again, with the RCAP program. This is in the amount of $1 million, and this is for the Cedar Street Industrial Complex renovation project in the city of Newcastle. But Dan, I'm going to turn it over to you because you've worked closely on these and maybe you have more to add.
The one thing I'll add, the first one, Stonecrest. They're bulldozing down there like crazy and getting that thing rolled out, but they're also are very close to getting probably 2 people signed up for buildings in there. So they're working hard on getting them two done. One, we're competing with the state of Ohio again, and they have the lieutenant governor involved in this one to see what they can do. So Ben Bush, he's been a great young man, working hard on this one, and we're getting closer and closer. The second one is Cedar Street. The best way to describe it, it's the old Elliott Steel building. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going down there to dot some I's and cross some T's with Ben. And they'll have a contract probably in the next couple of weeks signed for this building already, and we get some improvements. From what we're looking at right now, probably 40 jobs coming to Lawrence County with this project. So it's a company from out of the area, and we're bringing something new into the area. Pretty exciting, and it's nice to see that our young man and his crew down there are actually getting things done and moving. And last night I was sitting around, Ben called me about 9 o'clock, said, can you come down? We gotta get everything signed tomorrow. I said, absolutely. To me, he's just a great young man. He's got Diane Richardson, been there forever. She's top notch at what she does. Paul is another great guy. And the young lady, Lindsay, she's leaving us in a couple of weeks to have a little one, but she's coming back.
That's right.
And we wish her well.
Yeah.
And they got an intern down there right now that I'll go meet this morning. But they're doing a great job down there, and things are going really well, and I'm proud of them all. And I'm glad to be part of the project. It's a good time. We get things accomplished. So this will help them move forward with this on both of them. It's going to be money well spent.
Well, thank you again for your leadership on this board. You've tackled it and you own it. You've from day one, you've played a major role serving on that board. I assume, Dan, you're comfortable with us moving forward on both of these. And I will note for the record that these documents, the supporting documents, correct me if I'm wrong, the solicitor took a look at them as well.
Yes, and he adapted a couple things on them. There was some terms that if the Orange County Economic Board didn't pay some of this back, the county would, then the board's got to pay us back.
Mhm.
And he put the terms into how fast that'll get paid back, and we were all in agreement.
Great, that's great. Thank you. Commissioner Sanada, comments or questions?
No, I think this is something very positive. Mr. Kenny for his efforts with, but I just want to emphasize, we just said that the county takes no financial responsibility for this. I think that was a big question we had. So let's do the door, put it in a way that the taxpayers aren't on for anything. So this is a positive all the way around, and we're showing our support for these two transfers. So just make that clear.
Thank you. Gentlemen, would you be willing to take both these resolutions under one motion?
Yes.
Okay, so may I have then a motion for both Resolution 177, which is the Stonecrest facility in New Beaver Borough, and 178, which is the Cedar Street Industrial Complex, the city of Newcastle. I have a motion for both of these.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris. If there are no other comments or discussion, we'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you. Dan, once again, thank you for your leadership. Proposed Resolution 179 is a transfer request from the Voters Office. They're asking for a $2,000 transfer from the Commissioner's contingency into that of travel and training. I believe there is a seminar or a conference that's coming up in Center County that they'd like to attend.
That's correct. Tim came to me a couple weeks ago and indicated that him and two of his staff members would like to go to this training or seminar, and I thought it was excellent, especially in light of the current election coming up, and more knowledge and really get a feel for what's out there. So I thought it was something well worth sending him and his staff to.
No, and I think all, be safe to say, all three of us agree. We've made note in our role as members of the Board of Elections that this is a priority for us to make sure, and it was proven in the primary, that things run smoothly and things run according to the rules that we have to live under that are made by the Commonwealth, and we will continue to do that. So let me open this up. For Chris, do you have any questions or concerns about this proposal?
I think I know Tim had met with us. Training is very important for staff, and I believe in that. I think it's so important because, as you said, Chairman, we want to make sure everything is put on top of everything. The election office did a great job in the primary, and we're hoping to continue that right into the fall election. So this is something I think is important.
Thank you, Chris. Mr. Kennedy?
I'm good. Tim and his staff do a great job.
Thank you.
We don't see him much, and that's a good part of it, so.
Thank you, Dan. May I have a motion for Resolution 179?
So be it.
I'll second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 180 is a transfer request. I believe would this request be coming from juvenile probation, if I'm reading this correctly? They made the request that we take the 3,825.
Yes, they need a new bulletproof vest.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a better name for it? Okay. Those were outdated, basically, and they're kind of forced to get new. Now, there is a grant out there which they applied for, got approved, so the problem was we're not quite sure when that money would come in. It's the intent of the juvenile probation office when it comes in to do another transfer and reimburse the commissioners for the amount which we're paying for them to get those now. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, good.
Are you wearing your vest right now?
I am not.
Okay. Well, you're pretty safe in here, I
You
think.
don't know that character sitting next to you.
Unfortunately, I do now.
I enjoy history, and I remember reading a book. I have a book about when Gerald Ford was president, and you might recall, this was in 1975, there were 2 separate assassination attempts on President Ford, both of which took place in California, and both of the people with the guns were women. And fortunately, he was not hurt. But the Secret Service made him, for a period of time, wear a bulletproof vest. And you might recall back in the 70s, a lot of men wore 3-piece suits, which he did quite often. And I guess it was very cumbersome for him to do so. A suit coat, a vest, and underneath a bulletproof vest. He finally said, I'm not going to wear it anymore. But anyway, I didn't mean to digress. Dan, do you have questions on this proposal? Okay, thank you. Chris? Okay, thank you. May I have a motion for Resolution 180?
I move we approve resolution 180.
Second.
Thank you both, gentlemen. We'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. We have 4 administrative transfer requests. I'm going to walk us through them. Stop me if you have questions. And if not, at the end, we can, if you so desire, we can take a motion for all 4 of them. Judge Amodi's office is asking for a $900 transfer. This is from within her budget, coming from temporary part-time staff line item into that of materials and supplies. Once again, that's a $900 request. Children and youth, and these do happen periodically. I recall them from the past. They're asking from within their budget a $35,000 transfer from contracted services into the contracted services / security line item. And I believe that's, as it implies, to cover, we have a security officer at the front door out there. I'm assuming this covers some of those expenses. Thank you. The Public Defender's Office is asking for a $110 transfer from their contingency into that of the subscription line item. There's been an increase in the cost of law books and legal journals. And the District Attorney's Office is asking for a $7,000 transfer. It's broken out as follows. $1,000 is coming from their contingency account into their materials and supplies line item. $6,000 is going into their criminal investigations line item, and that's broken out in 2 ways. $3,000 of it is coming from their witness fees line item, and $3,000 is coming from their contingency account. Gentlemen, those are the requests we've received. Are there any concerns or questions? And if not, may I have a motion to approve them?
I move we approve them.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. And again, assuming there's no discussion, ask for a roll call.
Commissioner Sinata?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Vanessa. We have had for a number of weeks now a proposed resolution on the table, number 126 of 2024. It is a contract between our Children and Youth Services Office and Cray Youth and Family Services. There was a period of time where some negotiating had to take place and some conversations had to occur between the agency and the CYS office. It's my understanding, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're in a position now that, based on those conversations and discussions that have taken place, that the CYS office is of the opinion that we can move forward at this time.
Yeah.
That's your understanding?
That's my understanding.
Okay, thank you very much. That being said, gentlemen, would one of you care to make a motion to take Resolution 126 off of the table?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you both. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The resolution is now off of the table, and it can be considered for a final vote if that's the wish of this board. Would one of you care to make a motion to approve Resolution 126?
I move we approve resolution 126.
I'll second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Is there any discussion? Hearing, Dan, please.
I'll just say, Don, thank you for your staff and you yesterday for taking the time to sit down to us and work through this, what we got to do. From my perspective, and I think like you gentlemen here, we thank you for taking that time and doing that.
My pleasure.
I concur,
And thank you for your responsiveness as well as Jeff.
certainly. And this is a one-year contract, as I recall. Chris, anything else?
No, just, we want to get this thing moving forward.
Very good. We have a motion and a second for Resolution 126. May I please have a roll call?
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Vanessa. Couple of announcements. This board will convene a week from today, Tuesday, July 16 at 10 a.m. It's open to the public. The monthly meeting of the County Planning Commission would have taken place tomorrow at noon. That meeting has been canceled. There will not be a Planning Commission meeting tomorrow. 1 week from tomorrow, July 17, the Prison Board will have its public meeting at 12 noon in this office, in this room, open to the public. That board is the three commissioners, the president judge, the county controller, the district attorney, and the sheriff. Finally, it's not on here, but at 1:30 today, the West Central Job Partnership Governing Board, which consists of the three Lawrence County commissioners and the three Mercer County commissioners, will hold their quarterly meeting at 1:30 in this room, and that meeting is open to the public if anybody wishes to attend. Before I go to public comments, any other announcements that I've maybe overlooked? Okay, thank you. I'll open the floor for public comments at this time. Debbie?
Questions?
Mhm.
Is Michael Ackerman retiring from his position upstairs?
I would say that's a good way to characterize it.
Oh,
I'd feel better if you asked him if he considers it a retirement, but
well, okay, well,
that's how I would interpret it.
financially, there's a difference, so I just wondered.
That's true.
Okay. And the other question I have, these agreements and with the Cedar Street and Stonecrest projects, is there a commitment from the county financially to front money for this?
No.
What is the purpose of the agreement?
The
Can you
tax,
explain a little better?
one of the taxing bodies associated with this could be that, it could have been a city of Newcastle, it could be Lawrence County, has to sign off on this saying that, hey, we're behind them and, that everything goes to the Lawrence County Economic Board.
Where does the grant come from? They're getting, they're applying for?
Is it DCED?
It's a RCAP. Which would be-
I'm pretty sure it's DC.
That's DC.
Well,
Yes.
if you find out otherwise, you'll.
Yeah, I'll let Debbie know, I'll
You'll let
know
Debbie
when I.
And also, if you find out when they're supposed to make a decision on it, on giving them a grant.
Yeah, I will. They're gonna announce in the near future what's going on in these areas. Once they do, I'll make sure Ben Bush gets with you, Debbie, and tell you
Great,
what's going on.
okay, yeah, thanks.
Anything else, Debbie?
No, thank you.
Any other public comments or questions that anyone might have? Thank you. Closing comments from my fellow commissioners, Mr. Sanada.
No, I'm fine.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kennedy, because I know you got to get running down to Mr. Bush.
Yeah.
But thank you, Dan. Vanessa or Joe, anything we maybe overlooked? All righty, thank you. Well, thanks all for joining us today, and please stay cool. May I have an adjournment motion?
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye, opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. The meeting's adjourned, and Joe will turn off the computer. Thanks, everybody.
I'll leave in my book here, I got everything to take.
That was the.
Hey, how are you?